It was a moment that basketball had been waiting for, and even though it was a sports rivalry between two extraordinary players, it was much more than that. Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers, two of the best players in women's basketball, were set to face off on the biggest stage in NCAA basketball. But the story behind their meeting started years earlier, when they were teenagers taking their first steps into the world of basketball. Caitlin Clark grew up in Des Moines, Iowa, and showed early on that she had a connection to basketball that went beyond the ordinary. She was fast, dynamic, and had an exceptional shooting technique that made her one of the best players in her age group. Even in high school, it was clear that Caitlin wanted to make history. But her dreams didn't only take her to Iowa's court, she wanted to play for the legendary UConn team. The program under coach Gino Auriemma had a reputation that shaped women's basketball, but the expected call never came. Paige Bueckers, who grew up in Minnesota at the same time, was a completely different type of player. She grew up in Minnesota and immediately captivated everyone with her game. Paige was a genius on the court. Her game vision and ability to read the game made her the undisputed #1 player of the 2020 class. And when it came time to choose a university, Paige picked UConn, the team that Caitlin Clark had originally set her sights on. But UConn had already chosen Paige. Why? Because she was just that good. Paige played with a calmness that earned respect from older players. She kept her head when the game was at its most intense, leading her team with brilliant passes and tireless effort. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, despite being just one step away from the #1 spot, suddenly found herself in a different role, a setback that she didn't let stop her. Instead, it motivated her.
Hi, Caitlin. Pepper Kersley with the Next. There are so many more young girls playing basketball who now know you and are inspired by you. What message do you have for them right now?
Thanks, Pepper. I know a lot of little girls dream about going to all those blue bloods, but I know I'm in the right place. That's the reason I came here, because there was a true belief that we were going to make the Final Four someday. We didn't say we were going to do it in my first year here.
When Caitlin found out about UConn's efforts to recruit her, but never speaking directly with her, she was disappointed. However, the disappointment quickly turned into determination. She swore to show Coach Auriemma what he was missing. Her journey led her to the University of Iowa, where she followed in the footsteps of players who had already made history. Caitlin was determined to continue that tradition and create her own legacy. What Caitlin didn't know was that Paige, in the midst of her own success, would become a rival to her, not just as an opponent on the court, but also as a symbol of what it took to challenge the best of the best. It didn't take long for the two to cross paths on the biggest stage of NCAA basketball, and the spark quickly ignited. The first major encounter between Caitlin and Paige was unforgettable. It wasn't just another game, it was a showdown between two basketball giants. On one side, Caitlin Clark, the sharpshooter who loved to fire from beyond the arc and dominate the game with her explosive style. On the other side, Paige Bueckers, the capable and brilliant playmaker who dictated the game not only through her points, but also with her passes and court vision. It was a battle between two completely different playing styles. Caitlin, who became a master of individual plays, controlling the court with the ball in hand, and Paige, who used her incredible skills and precise passes to shape the game and elevate her teammates. It was a contest where individual brilliance mattered just as much as team play, yet both players were the focal points. But in the end, it wasn't just the two stars who made the difference. It was the teamwork that shaped the outcome. UConn, with its extraordinary depth, and Iowa, with its young, hungry team that knew they had to give it everything to win. Gabby Marshall, Monica Chinano, and Kate Martin were the players who supported Caitlin, while UConn had players like Aaliyah Edwards and Kristen Williams, who also left their mark on the game. And what stood out at the end of the game wasn't just the result. It was the realization that Caitlin and Paige had more in common than they ever thought. Both had the ability to lead their teams, to inspire, and to raise the bar for all the generations of basketball players to come. Despite their rivalry, it was always clear that they respected each other. Paige with her technique and calmness, and Caitlin with her passion and relentless will to win, Both played on a level that far exceeded what many thought was possible. In the years that followed, Caitlin Clark showed the world what it meant to be a true leader. She broke records, led Iowa to multiple Final Four appearances, and proved that she was more than just a star. She was a revolutionary in women's basketball. Paige Bueckers, however, even after struggling with injuries, fought her way back each time and showed her class, both as a player and as a role model. Today, they are two of the biggest names in college basketball, and although they play for different teams, their rivalry has forever changed the game. Their story shows what it means to not just win, but to grow as a player and a person. They are living examples that there is more to sports than just victory. It's about inspiration, respect, and the ability to motivate each other. Their rivalry and, at the same time, their friendship have become symbols for the next generation of basketball players. Girls all around the world look up to Caitlin and Paige and dream of one day becoming just as great as they are. But it's not just the game of basketball that unites them. It's their passion, their dedication, and their willingness to keep pushing. For them, it's not just about the game itself. It's about what they can do for the future of women's basketball. They know they are part of something bigger that is just beginning to grow. This is the true story of Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers, two players who have shaped women's basketball through their rivalry, their friendship, and their unwavering belief in themselves. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.